Hey everybody, welcome to today's Facebook Live. This has quickly become my favorite day of the week when it comes to filming and spending time with viewers like you. So thank you for being here. We are just gonna jump on in here. It was a very long night, 2 nights in a row now for Logan. He's been sick with this cold and he is asthmatic. And so for him, when he gets sick, it's really hard to breathe because he gets all boogery and congested and it just gets tricky. So if you have any tips or tricks, things that you've used that are really helpful, that would be wonderful to hear. And as always, we've got people jumping on here. I always love hearing where everybody's from. So do mention where you live, where you're from, and do say hello because it's fun to see as those comments come in. But yeah, so it was just a really long night for Logan. So I am a little bit late jumping on here. Landon stayed home because he's not feeling very well either. Noreen, welcome. And Christine, welcome. Christine's from Florida. Stephanie Browning is from Anaheim, California. I'm glad that everybody's here. So anyway, Landon is watching Logan. And I've talked about this before. I'll never have my children in Facebook Lives just because they're still quite little. So until they're 18, I won't be including them in Facebook Lives. But so anyway, so I went to check on Logan last night. He had a little bit better of a night. And he was just really congested and I fell asleep in his bed for several hours. So I woke up and my neck was like all kinked. So I'm a little bit more tired and slow today, but it's good. Sandra is from Canada. Welcome. And Garden City, Kansas. Sarah's from Kansas. Welcome. And Cheryl's from Winnipeg. I love hearing where everybody's from. Brenda's from Louisiana and Marie, hello. And I keep saying, you guys, can you tell I'm trying so hard not to say that? It was so weird when I moved to Southern Utah at like 12 and 13 years old. I noticed things that people would say around here. And I used to make fun of people that used to live here because they'd say fur instead of for, mountain instead of mountain. And they would say you guys or y'all instead of everyone, everybody. And now that I've lived here long enough, I find that I say the same exact thing. So welcome. Glad everyone is here. I had so many great questions come in, like so many from both Facebook and Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, you can head on over to jamie.scott and follow me there. I have been sharing a lot more pictures over on that platform of the kids. So anyway, if you want a little bit more to see what we've been up to, you can look at that too. LaDawn is from Rexburg. You know how much I love Idaho these days. But so many great questions. So we are just going to dive in and I will get to answering those questions. It's so fun to have everybody joining us. I feel like I have all of these friends that live all over the world now and it's wonderful. Greetings from Italy. Thank you for joining us. And you all know how much I love our Australians. I will let you know, I do have an article coming out in a magazine. I think I can say that. I think you all know that at this point. So if you live in Australia, as soon as this article comes out, I will let you know when I can say. But I'm really excited. They are going to send me over the final edit and it will include pictures of our journey and how we're doing as a family. So just right off the bat, the kids are doing okay. We have had a couple that have had colds over the last few days. And so they just needed a lot of extra snuggles, time, and attention. And one thing that's tricky for me is like when my kids get sick, different than Shayden and Landon when they were younger, like an entire bottle, we'll go through that in like a day because everybody needs it every 4 hours between day and night long. And so I'm just amazed at how much like cold medicine we go through. So some of the things that we are fans of, we really like Highland's cold and cough medicine because it's a little bit more all natural. And then when the kids go to bed at night, I'll put like Vicks Vapor Rub on the bottom of their feet with socks after a really warm bath. And that seems to really help my kids be able to breathe, especially Logan. Now, it doesn't fix and it doesn't solve everything. And every once in a while, I have to take him in to the doctor just to make sure that everything's okay. Because that little boy, when he gets sick, being asthmatic, his little heart will just race and it'll just pound. And so that's something that I have to keep on, yeah, keep on. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired today. If you tuned in for a while, I had a long night again last night. But he does do a nebulizer and breathing treatments as well, which really helps with the congestion. So let's see, I do the Vicks. I get bronchitis all the time. That's what Chris says. Yes, I knew this gal that was a little bit hippie trippy like years ago. And she had mentioned that works. And I was like, I'm going to try that because I already had it in my cupboard and I tried it and I was like, this helps me sleep through the night because I'm asthmatic too. So anyway, that's really helpful. So let's just dive into some questions that people had. Like if you can look at my paper, this is how I do it. Like so many questions that came in. Okay. Our first question, Kathy asks, did you have a dream job as a kid and what did you plan on doing as a young adult? I thought we'll start there. That was a really good question. Originally, I was going to school to become a kindergarten teacher and I only have 1 year under my belt of college education. So I would love to go back to school and get a degree. Now, do I still want to be a kindergarten teacher? I don't know that I do. I don't know that I'd be able to support my family financially with this many kids and all at the same age long term, but I would enjoy being a kindergarten teacher. I think they're angelic people and I'm really impressed with my kids' kindergarten teachers. If I were to go back to school, I would probably want to be a licensed marriage and family therapist or a licensed clinical social worker because I just think it would benefit my family and kids and would help us down the road. And I love people. I love working with people. So if I went back to school, it would be that. I also was a former dance teacher and I was a dance teacher since the time I was like 13, 14 years old. I ran my own dance studio. My parents purchased a home when we first moved to Southern Utah and it had a dance studio in it. And so the entrepreneur in me was like, there's lots of kids in this neighborhood. I enjoy doing dancing. And so I started that up. And fun fact, the person that set me up with this person named Austin that we're dating right now, I actually taught her dance when I was, I don't know if I was 14, 17, something like that. So that's originally how I made that connection and we met. But I really love doing that. I would love to teach dance again, but I would have to get a sitter for the quintuplets just to be able to teach the class. So anyway, so that was the first question. Alan and Mindy asks, does it stress you out when your kids get sick? You seem to handle it well. Well, I typically pick up my camera when I'm doing better as opposed to worse. So I do have my moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like if the kids are sick and they're throwing up or if they have like diarrhea, that gets a little tricky because it's a lot of kids and a lot of needs and a lot of laundry. But if it's something like a cold and my kids just need to rest more, they need snuggles more, they need just warm baths, I do pretty well, I think, in navigating that. And then I always reach out if I do need help. My parents do live up the street, and that has been extremely helpful to live close to them. I just happened to find a house that was for sale in their neighborhood, so it worked out perfect. I also have incredible neighbors, and I find that wherever I go, I find good people, and or maybe they just find me. I don't know. But I have just wonderful neighbors that are like everywhere I've lived, even when I had the babies in Arizona, that are like, let us know what you need. We're here for you. And so if I, at the drop of a hat, need somebody to babysit all 4 kids while I run up the street and take my kid to the doctor, I have incredible neighbors that are willing to do that. And I'm just really grateful for the community I live in because it's really tight-knit like that. And it's really, really cool. Hi, Susan from Maine. I'm so glad everybody's here. So I thought that was a really great question. I think this morning I was a little bit more sluggish, just waking up, addressing the needs of just Logan, but still trying to get all the other kids out the door. Somebody said, front porch looks great, ready for spring. Sarah Johnson, that's really kind. I'm actually really excited because I have some flowers right here sitting on a little cookie tray that I'm gonna show you in a minute that I just picked up from the store. Kimberly is from Cedar City, Utah. Hi. Laurie, keep in mind she chose to be a single parent. Laurie, that's actually not a very kind thing to say, just saying. So I ask for kindness always and giving each other grace because we never know what people are carrying behind the scenes. Okay. And I actually didn't ask to be a single parent, just in case you were wanting to clarify. I will clarify that for you. Okay, Sadie asked, your favorite thing about living in St. George? I really love the weather and I love the sense of community here. And I love that there's just good people. And I also like that it has a span of younger people, but also like a big community of senior citizens, which I feel like their life experience and their wisdom and their knowledge really benefits me as a woman, as a person, and helps me in raising my children and family because they've been there, they've done that. Maybe they've not raised quintuplets, but really, really good. So anyway, next question, Amy says, do you have any gardening plans? I do. I'm trying to address the inside of the home first and finish up the laundry room renovation. I'm really excited about that. I actually have cabinetry going in, you guys, this Friday. I'm really excited. And Goodwin Mill and Cabinets, my good friend Kayla Adamson, is owner of Goodwin Mill and Cabinetry. And so she is going to be installing those. So if you live in Southern Utah area and you are looking for quality cabinetry, that is the place to go. So I'm really excited to be sharing all of that with you come next week. We also have Fab Quartz and Granite that are going to be installing some quartz for me, probably going into next week. So I'm really excited. That is going to be up and coming. And I'm just so grateful that they are sponsoring the laundry room renovation. As far as gardening plans, right now I am just working on the little front porch containers because that's something that's pretty doable and affordable at this point in time. I mean, you all know me. You know how much I love gardening. I really had big plans. I would love to plant like some white iceberg roses on my property, as well as French lavender, and window boxes, and paint the exterior of my home white, just clean, clean, clean. I'm just really excited. So that I'm going to need to work really hard and save up extra money for that because I need to finish up what I started with the laundry room. But I am excited about that. We do have some more comments coming in. Laundry room finished. I don't get to see every video live. Sometimes I fall behind on what's happening. That's okay, Susie. You can always go back and rewatch stuff if you need to. But I'm really excited. And, you know, I wish I would have started as far as like the reno projects with the kitchen because I'm in there every single day. But I thought, oh, laundry room, that's not going to cost very much. Like, it's a tiny space. It'll be fast. And it has taken me such a long time. I still need to finish painting in there and sanding because I did retexture the walls from an orange peel knockdown to an imperfect smooth texture just to help update the home and freshen up the space. Somebody asked, would you ever consider doing a virtual dance lesson for our littles? You know, I've never thought of that. I probably could. I don't own any dance clothes anymore. I think the only thing I have left are my lucky dance shoes because I've had those for like, I don't know, 25 years. In case I ever teach again, they just fit perfect to my feet and I love it. You were an impressive woman, Diane. That's really kind to say. I really appreciate that. You know, I'm doing my best every day. I'm going to be making mistakes along the way. That's part of parenting, but you pick yourself up, you keep going, and that's what family is all about, is we have that, you know, just built in to be able to teach and to be able to love and to be able to learn and to be able to grow. And that has been my experience. Okay, so as far as gardening plans, maybe I'll just jump into that. I went over to Walmart today and they did have flowers, my most favorite flowers, which a lot of you have asked. These are my most favorite flowers. I'm going to try not to get soil on here. These are Persian buttercups or ranunculus. I chose one that has pink. Now these do come in, let's see, like, I forget what it's called, where like they'll bloom in every single color. My favorite are the really dark fuchsia pink. This is more of a light pink. So they'll come in like rainbow colors. So typically I choose Persian buttercups or ranunculus that have thicker leaves because that tells me that the flowers are probably going to be just wider and bigger, the blooms. But my favorite thing about these flowers is you can cut these and stick them on your counter and they will last for a good couple weeks just in like a little vase or little jar of water. My kids love picking these and I kind of use it as like a metaphor, like to teach my kids about love, how love just grows and grows the more you give it away. And so anyway, Let's see. So I picked up those today, and then they did have more of these geraniums, and I really like these. White is actually not my favorite color when it comes to gardening, but I love how they accentuate and bring out the colors of other things. And so I picked these up because they're a little bit more drought tolerant. The ranunculus do require quite a bit of water, but I think my kids will be really excited to take care of them, especially the girls. So, anyway, let's see. So many questions. I'll try and take a minute and see if you have any questions. Audrey asks, is it summertime there? No, we are just heading into spring, so that'll hit probably more April, May. But living in southern Utah, it is dry. It is the desert, and so we kind of get to plant things a little bit earlier than probably other places, which is kind of nice. Marie asks, are the Quints in Montessori school? No, they are in full day kindergarten and they're in public school. I would have loved to have had them repeat one more year of preschool before they went into kindergarten. But it just worked out that Dad and I decided that we would put them in kindergarten. So we are still in winter in Alberta. It's probably freezing. Shayden, my oldest, is living in central Wyoming, and it is freezing up there. So he came down and got himself some sunshine and some time with his sweet girlfriend and time with family and mom and dad. And he was so glad to enjoy the southern Utah sunshine. Maria, you're welcome for answering. Are the flowers perennials? I always get confused about this, the difference between annuals and perennials. I think the ranunculus will come back every year, but they don't do as well. They do better in California and places that get more rainfall, whereas here it's just a little bit drier, but they will come back if I plant them in the ground, and I've learned that over the years. But when they come back, they're a lot smaller. So I think these are grown in California, so the blooms and everything is just bigger by the time I actually put those into the ground. And then as far as the geraniums, I think those are going to be done after, I don't know. They usually die off in fall once it starts to get cold. I've been watching you since the Quints. Love from California. Jennifer, thank you for watching. It has been a journey the last 6 years. The Quints will be turning 6 on March 21st. I did have questions about when everybody's birthdays are. The Quintuplets turn 6 March 21st. I'm really excited to celebrate with them. We're going to keep it really simple and really sweet. You help us a lot to practice English. Thanks for that. Maria, you're so kind. I actually love when our viewers from France comment because it helps me freshen or remember. I took 4 years of French back in high school and I've not used it really since. And so I love it when we have other viewers and I can hit the translate button, but see the original way that people say it. And I love that we have people that speak different languages on here too. It's pretty cool. So yes, Quintuplets, their birthday is March 21st. Landon's birthday is August 3rd. He'll be 14. And then Shayden will be, oh, this is crazy to say, 19 this year on July 28th. Are any new hiking places for the kids close by is what Sarah asks. I have a friend that has twin little boys that are probably 2.5 or 3 years old at this point, and she takes her kids out on walks all the time. And so I've been watching her on Instagram, and I want to reach out and find out some of these places that are kind of short hikes for the kids to do, because southern Utah is so beautiful, and I love the red rocks. And it's just different. I think the scenery is just different. Jennifer asks, are all of your children have beautiful names? Thank you. I picked the names of the girls and then their dad picked the names of the 2 boys. Sarah says nature walks. You're sweet. Sorry. Do you celebrate World Book Day tomorrow? Angela, I did not know it was World Book Day. I hope so. I will have to, Barbara says, bonjour. Hello. I will have to pick a book and make sure I read to my kids tomorrow. Your birthday is July 27th. Christy, July is a good month to have a birthday. I don't know that it's a good month to be pregnant because I was really, really hot by the end of those summer birthdays. Let's see, geraniums come back. Oh, let's see. Sometimes these come in so quickly. Shayden's birthday is the same day as my daughter's birthday. It's a really good day to have a birthday. So Shayden was born 1 year let's see, 1 year, 8765, 1 year and 5 days after my anniversary. So he came really fast. Amy Payne says, hello from Utah. I'm a twin, and you know how hard it was for my mother with us. Kudos to you and your family. Jeanette, that's really cool that you're a twin. I don't know what that would feel like growing up, having like a built-in best friend, buddy, someone to love all the time and be friends with, and then somebody to fight with all the time. Is your twin male or female? Are you identical or fraternal? I would love to hear. Would you do another little library at your new place? Yes, Sarah, I would love to do a little library. My good friend, Kayla Adamson, from Goodwin Mill and Cabinets originally built that for me, and I loved it. And I live close to, I don't really live close to an elementary school this time, so it wouldn't be as frequent as a place like for kids to stop probably every single day, but I do have quite a bit of people that go on walks in this more established older neighborhood. And so it wouldn't be probably a little library of just children's books. It would probably have adult books in there too. And when I say adult, I mean like appropriate books, just to clarify. And probably not really books for teenagers, because there's not really a ton of teenagers in this neighborhood, but I would love to bring back a little library. And it would also help us rotate books and probably trade and swap books with the neighbors that have kids. Debbie, hello from Indiana. We do love Indiana. Little Grandma is from Indiana. And we just have a special place in our heart for that state. Okay, next question. Francine says from Facebook, are you dating someone special? So Francine, I don't know if you've been watching these lives. This is really the one and only place where I do talk about I am dating someone. I've not gone on any other dates with anybody else except for this one gentleman he's originally from Rexburg, Idaho. He lives in Idaho Falls now, and his name is Austin, and he's really good. He's really kind. Jenny says, if you and your friend were to get married, where do you think you would live? We have discussed that, just generally speaking, logistics, because we live in different states. I tell him Southern Utah isn't like my most favorite place to ever live in the entire world, but it is a good place, and there's many good places. But it's one of those where I have a co-parent, and so being mindful of co-parenting. Since this gentleman isn't married, I would prefer staying here in my hometown just so my kids can see their dad easier. And at this point in time, we have 50-50 parent time. And so we switch off every other week, and that would just simplify. So I'm not saying that this person and I are getting married. We've just talked just about logistics because of the distance. So anyway, I thought that was a good question. Lori asks, you were part of Skylar's family for so many years. Do you keep in contact with them? I hope it's okay that I do share this story. I actually ran into my former in-laws like a week ago at Walmart, and we were both looking at like Metamucil. So anyway, we were both talking about which one is the better one to get, and I talked him into getting the one that's like orange flavored, or like Clear Lax or whatever. So anyway, I really don't have a lot of contact with my former family members on the Scott family, and my Quints and the kids do see extended family quite a bit. Let's see. So yeah, I usually like every Easter make 2 pies, and my kids will be at Easter with their dad this year. He'll have them for Easter, and I always make two banana cream pies, one for the Smith side and one for the Scott side. But other than that, I don't really have a ton of contact with former family members. Occasionally, if we see each other out in public, like we might say hi. But no, not really. So anyway, I thought that was a good question. Does the gentleman you were dating get along with your children? Laura, great question. My kids haven't officially met this person. We've been talking now for about 4 months, and we've met up. I think we've gone on like four dates at this point, maybe 5, maybe 4 or 5. We got together last week and met up in Lehi, Utah. He's not met the kids. I think at this point, okay, so he was actually calling me right then. So I don't know how to like make my phone silent. So he will meet the kids. I think we'll know a lot more as far as like continuing dating or not, just to see if it's a good fit. and how the kids do, because I really don't want to introduce anybody to my kids if we're not going to continue dating. And so we've just really taken things really slow, and we've been really slow paced with things. The kids have FaceTimed him a few times, and at this point they just like to send him like emojis on the phone, and that's their way of just like saying hello, which I'm like, they're 5, so that's cool. Yeah, I thought that was a good question. Okay. I froze. Okay. Am I back? Eternal marriage. How does that work with divorce? Elaine, I think that's a really great question. So in my faith, we do believe that marriage can be forever. You ask a really good question, and we believe that families can be together forever. And I think when two people are turning towards each other and turning towards God, you know, like that triangle, I don't know if other faiths kind of talk about that, that marriage can be forever and it can be into eternity. Now, when it comes to divorce, that looks a little bit different. I do believe that my children will always be, okay, let me think for a minute how I would like to answer this question, because I think it's a really good one that Elaine asks. So personally, my take on that is Skylar's always going to be my kid's dad. Always. Like, that's who my kid's father is. But it's not an eternal marriage when it comes to divorce. And that's really all I'm going to comment on that. Now, if I do choose to remarry down the road, I can be married forever if I choose that. So that's really all I feel comfortable talking about at this point in time when it comes to that. But Elaine, I thought you asked a really good question. Let's see. Diane says, New Year's Eve birthday, it really conflicted with Christmas. Diane, that would be a tricky birthday to have. My mom's birthday is the day after Christmas, and she never liked her birthday. She always wished it was like Christmas Eve because there's more excitement the day before Christmas. Okay, another question. Lori says, oh, I already asked that one. Donna asks, do you get child support? I think I covered that the last live video. Neither Dad nor I received child support just because our business of 5 to Love was so successful at the time that when we did mediation, it was just unnecessary. And so we really just pay our own way at this point in time, and because it's 50-50 parent time, so neither of us gets child support. Jacqueline says, how do you balance having enough time for yourself and time with your children? I think that applies to being a single mom, but also to being a mom or a parent in general. Typically, I carve out time when the kids are gone for self-care and that sort of thing. But I do find that the way I'm wired is I need about 30 minutes a day, every single day, no matter the day. I've always been this way, to just take time, relax, and just breathe, and then regroup. And then I'm a better mom. I was always a better wife. I'm a better daughter. I just feel like a better person. And I'm just like one of those sensitive people where I just require that every single day. As far as balancing time with my children, now having quintuplets, 5-year-olds, that does get a little bit more tricky. I find that like spending one-on-one time with each of the kids is sometimes hard to come by. So I really have to carve that out. And some of the kids need a little bit more time, love, and attention than others. Like Daisy's really great at taking breaks, self-regulating, or just coming and saying, Mom, I need time with you. And sometimes it takes the kids a minute to find the words to vocalize that, especially like if they've had a meltdown and they're struggling with something, to find the words, and they'll be like, Mom, I just need time with you. And so typically how I do that, if you watch the vlog where Lincoln had a meltdown when he was wanting one-on-one time while we were at the park, and then all the kids came and wanted to play soccer with him because it's like such a group sport, where Lincoln was like, no, I just want my mom. That gets a little bit more tricky. So sometimes I will get a sitter or do childcare so that I can have that one-on-one time with my child. But it really is an interesting experience having 5-year-olds at the same time, because so much of their childhood and experience is going to be experienced together, but they're also individuals and they need that one-on-one time with each of their parents and with me as their mother. So I thought Jacqueline asked a really, really good question. Okay, I'm going to take a minute and see if you have some more comments, questions coming in that I can read. Let's see. And as always, I hope that we can keep our comments kind and full of grace. Let's see. Lori is from Southern Missouri. Welcome. Let's see. I had so many questions on here that were really, really good. Out of the quints, which one is close to who? I think some of you might be able to comment on this and know the answer to this. Violet and Lily are really, really close. Logan and Lincoln, because they've always shared bedrooms, are really, really close. And then Daisy is one where she plays really well with everyone. So as far as like who Daisy is the closest to, I would say her sisters in general, but Daisy's also wired. In a lot of ways, she's a really sensitive child, a lot like Logan. And so those two will pair off together and play really well together as well. And recently, because Lincoln and Daisy are polar opposites in the way they are wired and their personalities, they'll pair off together. And it's really fun to see how they play because they each have different personalities and different ideas. And so they'll come up with things that are both creative in different ways that the other person didn't think of. So that's really fun to see. But they all get along really well together, surprisingly, as quintuplets, and it's just really fun to see them play together. Let's see. Jody says hello from Florida. Welcome, Jody. Let's see. Another question. Shazer Creation says, what hobbies do you have or would you like to start? I think a lot of you know I love gardening and I love spending time with my kids and I love reading. As far as new hobbies, I really want to learn more about home renovation projects. And Mr. Chad, if you watched the live video where Mr. Chad was here and knocked on the door, if you've seen my Instagram stories, you may have like visually seen who this Mr. Chad the handyman is. He is just a remarkable person in my community that just has a good heart and a heart of gold and is a dad, a husband, just a good man. So he's been teaching me a lot of these home renovation project skills, like how to retexture walls. He's really patient with me and as I'm learning, especially things from scratch. I really want to learn this weekend how to do baseboards and door trim. So he's going to teach me how to do, how to cut baseboards and how to do trim work, because that's something I've always wanted to know. Tracy says, you have wonderful kids. Thank you. Diane is from South Carolina. I've always wanted to visit South Carolina. How's Landon? He is such a great kid. Lucille, thank you for asking. He's really good. He got up early this morning at 6:45. He did have his guitar lessons with Mr. Ritchie. If you're looking for a guitar teacher in Southern Utah, Mr. Thomas Ritchie is really wonderful and works with kids. And he also teaches vocals along with it. Landon's doing really, really well. He's such a good kid with such a great heart. I think for Landon, the thing I want most for him is to learn how to be even more assertive, to make sure that his needs are being met and he's not just overshadowed all the time by the quintuplets, because I can't imagine being 13, what that would feel like. I know for me at 13, 14 years old, my parents did foster care. And so I had a little foster brother and sister that were 18 months and 2.5 years old. And that was tricky at times because I really missed having that one-on-one time with each of my parents. But it was one where I was able to go to my parents and say, hey, I really miss you. I want time with you. And they would carve out that time for my sister and I. So I think Landon is wired that same way. And he was just saying, like, I'll have the kids for the next 3 weeks is how our co-parenting works, because we trade off holidays and spring break is coming up. But he was saying, you know, I really need a break of the quins and I want time with my dad. And so I think it's really good that Landon's finding his voice in our family and saying, this is what I need and I would appreciate you supporting me. And I think that's wonderful. What are the boys and girls sizes? Great question. The quints are wearing size 6. If you are shopping at Carter's, I would say size up for the girls, size 7. And I was actually going to do a shout out to Michelle Huey. She sent me the sweetest thing from Amazon. I just went to the post office today and she sent me the cutest little dresses for the girls. And I actually have bought this exact dress before and loved it so much, but they're really short on the girls right now. So when they bend over, you can see their little undies. So it was nice to have these in the next size up. And then she sent these for the little boys. And I thought this was such a cute, fun spring color for my kids. And I'm just really grateful because I have mentioned before, money is a little tighter this time of year for us. And having 5 kids going through growth spurts all adds up. So I appreciate her sending those. That was really kind. Let's see, Vicky says they are so cute. They really were cute outfits. I thought she did really well. They kind of had that modern vintage vibe. How was little grandma and your parents and sisters? Stephanie asks. Little grandma's doing well. I saw her on Saturday. She's just the sweetest person ever. My parents are doing good. They're actually on a little vacation right now, which I think is wonderful. What is the post office where we can send something for birthday, I think? Would you ever consider your kids being models? That's really kind. P.O. Box, you can find that at the very top of Five to Love, the page. Bernadette asks, would you ever consider them being models? Maybe, but I wouldn't want to put too much pressure on my kids. Anna says, hello from Germany. We have had people from Germany follow us from the very beginning. Some of my most favorite people live in Germany. I noticed lots of moms put bike shorts under their dresses if they're a bit short. Loretta, I was just thinking about that. I was just at Walmart today and they have pretty affordable biker shorts. And if I could buy them in bulk, I think that would be wonderful. When the kids were little, more like babies and toddlers, I used to do bloomers from a company, I think out of Texas. But now that the kids are older, I think biker shorts are going to be the way to go. Martha's from Guatemala. That's cool. They could model for multiples. That would be cool. Michelle is from Florida and Linda is from Sweden. Some of the kindest people that we've had over the years have been from Sweden. And Beth is from Pennsylvania. Is Landon playing any Mexican songs on the guitar? I don't know. He is so quiet about his guitar lessons. Like, if I want to hear him play, I have to kind of like poke my head around the corner early in the morning just to hear him play because he's such a sensitive child. Like, he doesn't feel comfortable quite yet playing in front of me. Maybe he plays for his dad because his dad's a guy, but for me, he's just like very tenderhearted and quiet about it. But he's becoming just a really good little guitar player. It's fun to see. Lots of mommy and me collabs for girls and moms. Sarah, that would be really wonderful. I actually have a package coming in the mail that is from, what is the company? As soon as I remember it, I'll say it. Hello from Wyoming. Kristen, how is the weather in Wyoming? I hear it has been kind of chilly is what Shayden was saying. And Yvette is from Sydney, Australia. And Janine is from South Africa. Does Landon know what he wants to do when he gets older? He says he wants to make a lot of money. And I was like, okay, so get good grades in school. That's going to be the trick to that. Let's see. Hello from Newfoundland, Canada. You are beautiful. Thank you. Will you be planning a vacation in the summer? I hope so. I think for me, travel-wise, it ends up being so much easier and more enjoyable when we travel with grandparents or cousins or my sister Katie. I would love to go back up to Jackson Hole. Jenny Lake was just breathtaking. I had never been up to Jackson Hole, and I had never been to Yellowstone National Park, and that was really cool. So I'd love to take my kids back up there. Hi, longtime fan from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Laura, I'm glad you're here. Let's see, somebody's talking about biker shorts, dance shorts. Sometimes when your comments are longer than 2 sentences, it takes a little bit longer to read. Do you still have the family RV? Great question. No, Skylar and I sold that when we separated, and it just freed up a bunch of money for the kids and for our family. So no, we don't own that anymore. Hello from Guam. Well, that's cool. We have people that live all over. I love it. What are you doing for winter break with the Quints? So for Easter break, we are going to be staying local. We'll probably be doing some form of a staycation. So I've been brainstorming ideas of what I'd like to do and get out and about with the kids because it is going to be warmer. Next week, it's almost going to be in the 70s. So we'll probably do some gardening, some planting. I want to get another baby little chick for the kids. They're probably selling them at the store, so then we'll have 6 chickens. Your hair is getting so long and I love it. Sherry Gar, I haven't seen you in forever. Sherry Gar wrote the coolest book. It's probably on Amazon. You can look it up. It's called Gumfounded. She was Shayden's Sunday school teacher back when he was like 7, 8 years old, and she's wonderful. So hello, Mrs. Gar. Hi from New Zealand. Hi, Marion. And Luis is from Florida. Okay, I'm going to get to a few more questions that people asked. What do you love most about raising each child? Okay, from start to finish, Shayden. My favorite thing about Shayden is he's passionate, he's a go-getter, he's confident, he knows what he wants, and he's not afraid to try. And he's got the drive and passion of his dad, which I really like. So when he sets his mind to something, there's no stopping him. Landon, I love that he's tenderhearted. I love that he's sensitive. I love that he's intuitive. I love that he is musical and has a love for the arts. I love that he has a sensitivity when it comes to his siblings. And I love that he's finding his voice and he's finding that he really likes his space as a teenager. Next child, I love Violet. I love her spunk. I love her charismatic. Sometimes I love her sass, not always, but sometimes. And she makes me laugh just about every single day with how like blunt and bold she is. I love it. Daisy, I love that she's tenderhearted. I love that she's sensitive. I love that she's kind. And I love that she is just a good human being. She's just darling. And she's probably the most like me, just very like quiet and an observer in a lot of ways. Let's see, next in line is Logan. I love how tenderhearted Logan is. I love that he's very affectionate, which reminds me of when Landon was little. And I love that spark in his eye. And one funny thing about Logan is like, he always says to me, like, I love you so much. My love never stops. It just keeps growing and growing. But then when he's mad at me, he says, you don't love me anymore. And he says, I'm not sharing my love with you. So anyway, that's kind of been a fun little quirky thing that he's done lately. Lincoln, I love that he's a passionate child, wired a lot like Shayden. He is very spontaneous. He's very outgoing. He is sometimes very stubborn, which right now we're using that word, but I also see it as he's very determined. So when he puts his mind to something, he can sometimes be obsessive and nothing's going to stop him. So if he decides he's good at something, he's all in and he's going to go for it. And then last but not least, Lily, I love that she is spunky and creative and artsy and passionate and has a zest for life. So hopefully that answers your question about what my favorite things are about each of the kids individually. What do the kids love to do when they're not in school? I think right now my kids are really into arts and crafts, and those are the boys included. So we are going to be doing some St. Patrick's Day crafts and springtime crafts coming up, and I think it's gonna be really fun. Any plans for a vegetable garden? Bonnie, you know me so well. Yes, I'm already scheming of what I would like to do. My backyard isn't terribly huge, but it's still a really great size. So I'm trying to decide where I would like that vegetable garden. If I could have it next to my chicken coop, it would be really easy to do composting. I'll probably do a box garden just because it's easier and spiders and scorpions creep me out, and we back up to old farmland that has never really been used, and so box gardens will just make it easier, I think, on my back to do gardening. Let's see, I was giving up the bunny. How is giving up the bunny going is what Nita asks. You know, I waved goodbye to all the kids, the 4 kids that went onto the bus today, and I looked in the window and Vivi waved at me, and she had a bunny that she had snuck on the school bus and she was sucking on it. So hopefully, I keep telling her, Violet Rose Scott, like if you want a real life bunny, you have to let go of this fake bunny and you can have a real live squishy bunny and it'll be great. So she's still got some work to do, but you know, she's not going to be 40 still sucking on a bunny. So hopefully sometime soon she gives it up. Buttermilk yellow squash is delicious. Bernadette, I think that's a great question. Squash does really well here in Southern Utah. Now, 3 of the quintuplets are allergic to squash, so they wouldn't be able to eat it, but I love eating squash. My former brother-in-law, Dan Cox, who's a dentist here in town, he would always grow squash and he would serve it up with butter and onion and just cook it up on the stove, and it was always so good at family get-togethers. Let's see, more questions. Let's see, I think I covered that one. Natalie asked, do you plan to remodel your kitchen and are you thinking white cabinets? I think you all know me so very well. Yes, I would love to remodel the kitchen. I would love brand new cabinets, but that's going to be probably several years out. And so for now, I'm looking at painting the cabinetry white. I do have laminate countertops, and I found a product at Lowe's that is like a look-alike faux marble, which I feel like would just brighten up the space in the meantime. And I'll probably change out like the cabinet pulls, and that will be my kitchen remodel. Love butternut squash with brown sugar and butter. Ooh, I've not tried it with brown sugar. That does sound really good. That's what Vicky just said. Cami says, what's your favorite thing about being single? I mean, it's really taken me a good year to get the hang of being comfortable in figuring out my new identity as losing, like, I'm not a wife anymore, because I think so much of my life was wrapped up into wanting to just be a good wife and a good mother. Now I love having my own time, especially when the kids are at their dad's every other week. It frees up a lot of time for self-care, for reflection, for nurturing the relationships in my life that are important to me, friends, family, neighbors, that sort of thing. I love that I just have more time. So I do love that. I don't think I want to be single forever though. I would love that companionship and to find a best friend, which would be wonderful. Love butternut squash with butter, onions, and Parmesan cheese. Ooh, Donna, that does sound good too. I think Landon would love that. He loves anything cheese, and he definitely loves anything Parmesan cheese. Let's see, tips for explaining separation and divorce to older children. I can't remember who asked that question. I thought it was a really good one. So my kids were older, and Skylar and I sat the boys down initially, not even the Quints, because they were 3.5, they were younger. And we just let them know that we were going to be temporarily separated while we were working some things out. But my older boys, they kind of know basics of why we chose divorce. And Landon just recently shared that he actually thinks it's better in our particular situation, because it allows the kids time with each of their parents, and it's just better. So for our family dynamic and our particular situation, while it is ideal to have two parents in the same household, it was just better for us to have two separate households, and that's what works best for our family. Let's see. Tara West. I think that's Tara West that I knew from growing up. Maybe. If it is, say hello. If we danced together back in the day. Let's see. Amy asks, I think this is fair game. What are your thoughts on vlogger mom Ruby Frankie? I have been asked that since that all went down. It's a really sad thing. So if you don't know who Ruby Frankie is, she is a family vlogger that is from, I think, northern Utah. I've never met her. I don't know her personally. I am good friends with her sister, Ellie Meekum, and I will say Ellie Meekum is a remarkable human being, good, kind, and a heart of gold. And Ellie and I were just talking, I don't know, like a few months ago. And actually how I found infertility treatments and all of that was through Ellie Meekum sharing her infertility journey. And I think Ellie has polycystic ovary syndrome like me too, and maybe some other infertility stuff. So she's just wonderful. But Ruby was arrested, I don't know when this was, like, I don't know, in the last few months, for child abuse. I have zero tolerance for child abuse. So that is my comment in regards to Ruby Frankie. And I wish her children and family nothing but the best and a whole lot of love, because she does have really good children and a remarkable family. And it's a really sad thing that has happened and occurred. So I won't be commenting on that further, but I did think it was okay to comment on that publicly. Let's see. How do you feel co-parenting with different religious beliefs now? I have commented on this before. So their dad, Skylar, is no longer a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and that's okay. We each have our agency to practice whatever belief system, religious belief, practice that we want, and the children have the right to attend and worship with both parents how we see fit within our households. And so I think being respectful about differences in our beliefs has been helpful in co-parenting. Christine asks, how is dating going with your new friend? It is going really well. We were just in, so kind of the halfway point is Pleasant Grove. It's about 3.5 hours south for him and 3.5 hours north for me. And the people that originally set us up have a second home there, and their daughter lives up there too. And so I was able to stay up there, and then he stayed in a different place. And we went on a date to, what is it called? A butterfly exhibit where you can go into a greenhouse. I'd never done this, and I wanted to check it out because I'd love to bring the Quints up there. And so you can go into this little greenhouse, and there's just butterflies all over the place, and they really land on you, and like you can hold them and stuff. So that was a really cool date. And then we went and ate some good food up at Gardner Village and spent like a day together for a day date. And then we each drove back home our separate ways. So that was nice. We're just taking it slow, and he's just a really good friend right now. Do you celebrate Easter with the Easter Bunny or Jesus resurrection, or both? Bernadette, really great question. So I can only speak for myself, but historically speaking, the way Dad and I have handled that is we've been a lot more focused on Jesus and the Savior than the actual holiday. So as far as Christmas and as far as Easter, we do celebrate Santa, and we have historically celebrated like the Easter Bunny, but I don't really make a big deal out of it to my kids. I just talk about Easter in general, and we focus on the Savior. So that is how I handle celebrating holidays and our family, because I really want my children to understand the whole purpose. And also, I don't like all the materialism that just kind of seeps its way in when it comes to holidays in general. Get some resurrection eggs. I don't know what that is. Leave it in the comments a little bit more, because I'll go back and read this. I don't know what resurrection eggs are, but that sounds like a really cool thing to teach the kids. Do you have food restrictions with your religion? Lucille, great question. We do have in the Mormon faith or LDS culture something called the Word of Wisdom, and that means I don't drink coffee, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in there. But other than that, everything, I pretty much eat everything else, but those are 3 things. And also like, yeah, so those 3 things I've never had. Do you have, oh, that's, Lucille asked the same question. I was actually, when I was looking at property in Texas, considering moving to Texas about 2.5 years ago, I ran into a group of people that were a different religion than me, but there were actually so many similarities. And they were talking about that they have food restrictions within their faith too. And I thought it was interesting because a lot of the things were the same, and theirs used to be coffee. But then as like a church congregation, they decided to reintroduce coffee back into their faith. So I thought that was interesting, but a lot of like the things and food restrictions were similar in their faith that were kind of reminded me of my own. So similarities, but also some differences. And I thought that was cool. Okay, Diane says no coffee. I'd have to reject your religion. I know, I think I probably would be a coffee drinker because I love caffeine first thing in the morning. So I do start my day off with a soda. My favorite right now is Dr. Pepper Zero. Kathy says, are the little ones excited about their birthday? Yes, and the countdown begins. Like Logan keeps asking because he's really, really good at math. So he asks me every morning when he wakes up, how many more days until my birthday? And sometimes this is like at 6 a.m. and I'm like, hold on, let me figure that out. Let me count how many days as of today. So they're very excited. Very excited. Oh, somebody asked, in my faith, is tea okay? If it's like the non-caffeinated kind, then it's okay. Green tea is typically not something that people drink. Somebody else said, Bonnie says, yeah, if you can't have that, or I'm SDA. What does SDA mean? No coffee here too in your faith. Bonnie, what religious background are you? I would love to know that. It's interesting to see how vast and like different we all are with our faiths, but the similarities that exist too. I find it fascinating. Okay, let's see. More questions. Let's see. I covered that one. Could you tell us a little bit more about your dance background, and did you do competitive dance? So I started dancing at age 6. My mom found that my sister and I were dancing to Whitney Houston a lot and just making up these random dances. And so anyway, she signed us up for ballet or like dance classes. And originally I think it was like probably like a tap jazz combo class. And I started taking dance, I think, in Las Vegas. That's where I was growing up. So between the ages of 6 to 13, I took various forms of dance, tap, ballet, jazz. And then as I got older, I think it was like 11 and 12, I started doing more ballet classes and various different forms of dance. As I got older into middle school and high school, I did more competitive dancing, and that was really fun. I don't think I'm really wired for competitive dancing because I'm just an introvert and I'm quiet. But with that, we learned hip hop, which I'm actually terrible at, jazz, tap, character, lyrical. I did take point for about 6 months time. So I did wear point shoes, and I never felt more beautiful in all my life than when I was dancing around in point shoes. That was wonderful. But in high school, I did choose to do drill team. They didn't offer anything else besides cheerleading or drill team. And so I went with whatever had the most performance opportunities, which was drill team. I really loved it. I really felt like I got to participate more in school activities, performing at halftime. It was really fun. Competitive dance, I continued with that with drill team, but then I also took private dance, doing mainly ballet classes because that was required to be on the drill team, and it was really fun. Let's see, do you collect anything? Spoons, teacups, or anything else? Patty, great question. I am a sucker for vintage children's books. So if you ever find me in a thrift store, you can bet that I'm probably going to check out their vintage children's books. I love books from the time period like 40s through 60s. I love how bright the colors were. And I love that a lot of those books were about good, teaching your children like good morals, values. And I love like vintage little golden books because those are like 50 cents and my kids love them too. Let's see. Bernadette says she's a bookaholic. I am a sucker for vintage children's books. I just love them. I can't get enough of them. And I'm weird. I like the smell of the pages because they're old, and I like to envision how many kids have read them. How many siblings do you have? Do they live nearby? I have one sibling. I have a younger sister who's 2.5 years younger than me, named Katie or Kate, and Daisy Kate is named after my sister. My mother had infertility, so she tried for many years to add more children to our family, even doing IVF, and it was unsuccessful. She tried adoption, unsuccessful. We did have foster kids for about 6 months' time, and at 14, I really learned what love was all about at age 14 and what that means to put yourself in another person's shoes. So anyway, yeah, I love having a sister. I would have loved to have grown up having a brother, but no, I just have the one sister. My daughter loved vintage Happy Hollister books. They were all read at once. That's so cool. Have you heard Molly Whoopi music? She's amazing with songs for kids. No, I'll have to look into that. I think I need to get a playlist together for my kids. They would love it. Books by Ed Young and Patricia are wonderful. Studied Tai Chi with Ed. Very cool. Do you have the book called Love Me Forever? Vicki, that's my most favorite children's book. It always makes me cry at the very end of the story. My mother read that to me growing up, and I now read it to my kids. I've been teaching for 35 years. I have tons of books. Some smell old. I love old books. They're my favorite. And I love when the pages are worn too, because it means they've been well loved. Okay, I think I might have like one more question on here. No, I think I covered every single question that everybody answered on there. I think I covered every single one. Is Shayden and Violet still close? Yes. Vivi does cry sometimes because she misses her older brother, and I think Shayden sometimes gets homesick because he does miss the quintuplets. Do you have any books by Beverly Cleary? My kids love them. Tell me some of the books. I'm trying to think. Are they chapter books? It's been a while since I've heard that author. Thanks for sharing, Maria. I'm so glad you're here. Does your library have a used book sales? They do. I haven't been into our public library in quite some time. Oh, Ramona the Pest. Yes, I forget. I haven't read those since I was a kid. Did you want a lot of kids growing up? I used to say growing up that I wanted 6 kids, and they were going to be all girls because I didn't like boys because they were annoying to me at the time, and I would just have one little boy maybe at the end. So I had like decided all of that. You were so strong. Thanks for sharing. That's really kind. Bernadette says another book, probably by Beverly Cleary, Motorcycle. I'm not sure. You can clarify that. But anyway, I love spending time with everybody every Wednesday. Why are you allowed to drink Dr. Pepper, which is high caffeine, but no coffee? Patricia, that's a great question. I really don't know the answer to that, but for now I don't drink coffee. Bonnie says Ramona and Beezus. Yeah, wasn't there I think it had Selena Gomez in it and this other famous actresses in it, where they came out with a movie. I think it was called Ramona and Beezus. Please tell me the author of Love Me Forever. If anybody remembers that, can you write down what that is? Ooh, lots of good books. Henry Huggins. I haven't read these books since I was like in elementary school. I've forgotten about all of these. Have you baked your strawberry cookies? I did, Stephanie. I made them last week and they were so good. I made a version without eggs for the kids that have to be egg free. And then I made a version with eggs and with fresh eggs from my chickens. And they were so good. Just buttery, soft. Jerry says date update. I don't know when we're going to go out on another date, probably in a couple weeks or something. Let's see. Can you eat chocolate, which has caffeine? Great question. Yes. And I eat chocolate every single day. So I actually had food allergies where I couldn't have chocolate for 5 whole years. And I would just get so sick, so sick. So I went and saw this doctor here in Southern Utah. People call him the voodoo doctor. His name's Dr. Pinkston, actually. And he's just this old chiropractor that's just really sweet. That's a grandpa. And he practiced something called NAET. And anyway, he cured me of that food allergy. And so now I eat chocolate every single day. And one of my favorite snacks is just chocolate chips when the kids aren't looking. Everybody's talking about the book Love You Forever. It's such a good book. Such a good book. It's my favorite. Okay, well, if you have any more questions, we'll be taking just a few more questions here, and then I will wrap up this Facebook Live because the kids will be getting off the bus soon, and I'm going to go spend some time with Logan. I think the motorcycle book is something, do the kids have cousins? Yes, on my side of the family, they have 3 cousins. Aunt Katie has 3 kids. I've never shown them on vlogs or video just out of respect for their dad because he doesn't want them shown on camera till they're older. So anyway, yes, they have cousins. Kayla is 16. No, she's 15. Kayla's 15. She looks just like my sister Katie. And then Kylie is 12 or 13. She's amazing. She's so good with the Quints. And then Kason is 11 and he has red hair like Katie. And Mary Ellen is from Mission, Texas. Hi, Mary Ellen. Okay, any more questions? And then we will wrap this up. And I've got to film the rest of the vlog for tomorrow. Does Landon have days where he is just with you and just with dad for all the kids? For now, he is 7 days on, 7 days off, the same as the quintuplets. But if he needs time with just his dad or with just me, we carve that out for him. What's your secret to patience as a parent? I think taking it one day at a time and taking deep breaths and chocolate. Robert Munch is the author for Love You Forever. That's like the best book ever. It really is. My kids love it too. Hi from Wisconsin. Hi, Pat. A few more questions and we will wrap this thing up, and I will probably call back Austin since you all know that he called while I was doing my Facebook Live video. Hello from Houston, Texas. Hi, Connie. Glad you were able to catch us live. What about Skylar? Well, you asked that again. I didn't see that. How do you stay so thin? That's really kind. I think caffeine and genetics and stress and lack of sleep. Stephanie Browning, have a good afternoon. You as well. You as well. So you did have a question about Skylar. You're welcome to answer or ask that again. I didn't see it because I had several things come in. Thanks for the recommendation on books. My favorite author right now is still Elsa B. Scow. She's written so many good books. And then there's books about triplets that you can get on Amazon, Flicka, Dick, and Ricka. And then there's boys that are triplet boys too. My kids really love those too. Hello, Cheryl from Chipley, Florida. Okay. I think that is it for questions today. I hope you all had a great time spending time together today. I'm going to go finish up with getting my vlog uploaded to Kyle so he can edit it. So I hope you will continue to support and love my family. We're so grateful for each one of you and for being here. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.